What are you usually doing at 5 a.m.? Most people would say sleeping. But for Gage Daye, former pro basketball player turned real estate investor, that answer has been the same since his sophomore year of college, and that would be in the gym. On today's video, I follow the former pro on a day in his life.
So yeah, normally the day starts, alarm set, 4:15, 4:30. That's what time I get up, stretch a little bit, and prepare for the workout. Try to work out like 4 days a week, stay in shape. For me, I try to stick with basketball workouts because that's what I know best. That's between college and overseas. That's what I spent about over 10 years kind of putting myself in that shape. So I try to stay with that as much as possible. Obviously, it gets more difficult as you get older. But, I still stick to my basketball workouts. Not necessarily to compete, but it's just the feeling I get when I know I'm in that type of shape, mentally, physically. My endorphins are flowing. I'm able to really be at my best. In my mid-30s, 40s, I want to continue to be in the best shape as possible, just so I could, live to see some of the success that we're putting together with some of this other stuff in business and these investments and things like that. So that's kind of the thought process behind it.
Well, having a healthy body is good for the long term, but in the short term, do you feel like it also gives you like a competitive advantage? Like you just could think better than anybody who probably doesn't work out daily?
Yeah, for sure. Like, absolutely. Like, it's like the feeling that I get after a workout, or knowing that I've been working out for weeks in a row. I walk around feeling better. My brain is sharper. So that's definitely something to it.
How do you actually manage to wake up at around 4? How do you manage to wake up at 4 a.m. every day and not slow down at all?
The motivation changes over time. In college, it was because I wanted to max out my ability as an athlete in school and try to get whatever accolades that was available. Overseas, it was, again, to maximize my abilities, but also to try to get better so I can get bigger contracts. And nowadays, I have kids, I have responsibilities to take care of, I have companies to run, I have employees who work for me, I have people who depend on me. So I think that motivation changes over time for everybody. And that's how I stay motivated, man. Another thing, I'm trying to beat myself. Honestly speaking, I'm trying to, in my younger years, in my 20s, I was always trying to do better than my peers, beat my peers, athletically or whatever. I was always trying to just be the best, but that turned out not to be enough. So now I'm trying to eclipse all the things that I've done personally. So that's the motivation I wake up with, and that gets more difficult every year. We're doing so many different things year to year, writing books, mentoring, creating businesses, buying real estate, etc., etc., etc. So I'm trying to continue to beat the previous version of me.
Alright, we about to get this quick workout in. We got 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Quick little workout.
And enough.
How you feeling?
Early morning. That's how you start the day. Jeez.
I ain't do a real workout like that in a minute. Chest is only a little bit hurting.
Like 4 days a week, 5 if possible. Like I said, man, just trying to stay sharp. Keep my mind sharp, keep my physical sharp. Best way to be. On to the next. Now we gotta get the kids to school, breakfast, get the lunch prepared, vitamins and all that good stuff. Keep the day rolling.
Mind you, we did all this before the sun even came up.
No sun up. Shout out to Bloomfield College, man, home. It's the foundation right here.
Look, man, sun ain't even up. We already got a whole workout in for the day. You know, this lifestyle is really different. Something I'm not used to. Even though I was a college athlete, we did wake up at 5 a.m. We ain't do that every day. So it's not, you know, this isn't normal. Maybe I should make this part of my daily routine. It's not a bad thing. You get a good workout in for the day, then you don't really gotta worry about that for the rest of the day. Definitely something you guys should definitely think about or consider. After this quick 5 a.m. session, I was blessed with the opportunity to ask Gage about all his businesses and exactly how he got into these while playing overseas.
Goals for sure.
And what was your first look into the businesses you're doing now? Like, tell me how each of those started.
Honestly, my journey in business ownership and entrepreneurship started while I was playing overseas. Essentially, you know, you get a lot of spare time when you're overseas. You know, you got a lot of time to sit down, think in between playing and practicing. So for me, I used that time and kind of put a plan together for myself, for my future when I was done playing. And I used that time to really organize and put details behind my businesses. My nonprofit, Academic Athletic Advancement, the goal there was to help the community, help younger people that are in similar situations as mine. So, you know, we do back to school drives, we have scholarship funds, mentoring programs. I pretty much planned that while I was over there in Australia. Same thing with the real estate stuff. I really wanted to get into real estate some way, you know, so I pretty much just began reading, educating myself in the space, taking meetings when I got home to build some partnerships. That's pretty much how I got to where I am today in the game. Same thing with lab development. In between my seasons overseas, I was already training different younger players back at home, and then I would leave and go play, come back, train, leave and come back. So that would already kind of shaped itself throughout the years. And then we just grew the company to, you know, over 150 clients, a bunch of scholarship athletes. Shout out to the whole lab development team. My guy Rich, Fee, you, Neff, Jay, Gage Daye, everybody, my wife, everybody that's involved with the lab development program. You know, Duke does an amazing job, allows me to kind of focus on different ventures. You know, lab pretty much operates on its own. You know, we have meetings and we lock in, but the team definitely allows me to focus more on real estate, focus on my family and things like that. When early on, lab development was just myself, literally training 50 kids a week, 70 some weeks, and then it has grown to what it is today. So it's definitely a blessing.
How important was staying patient in the early stages? So like, I know a lot of young people who are trying to be entrepreneurs, maybe myself at times, I'll like sort of feel kind of like rushed for success, and you know, I'll put in extra hours thinking that it's gonna like increase or decrease the time from now till success. How important was it for you to stay patient, and how did you manage that?
For me, it was the planning, right? Like, I had a plan together. I had a yearly annual plan. I had a 5-year plan. So I just stick to the script, man. I really just stuck to my plan and check those boxes every day. Every day I have a checklist. at the end of every day, I make sure, you know, everything's completed. You do that for over a week, you notice how many things you get done. You do it for over a month, you see how much more gets done yearly, bi-yearly, you know, so it just continues over time. You get to that checklist and stay locked in. The work is going to show at the end of the day. The harder you work, the luckier you get. That's a saying that we hear a lot, and it's true. You know, the harder you work, opportunities come. So I would say, you know, just stay locked in, keep working, keep knocking off your checklist.
Let's say you could take anything you know now and like sort of like transfer it to your younger self. What's the one thing that you would send back in time?
Invest earlier. I would, if I could tell my younger self anything, it would be to begin to invest earlier. Whether that's real estate, whether that's the equity markets, stocks, crypto, invest. Start your investment portfolio early. You know, you could jump into a Roth IRA and in 20 years have over $1 million, you know, due to compound interest, depending on the interest rates and everything like that. But, you know, that's something I do for my kids. They've had Roth IRAs since they were 2 years old. So we're constantly dollar cost averaging into their custodial accounts. So that's something I would tell anybody, especially myself if I was younger. I would have been into the markets in my younger ages.
Is there like a specific amount that you would put in, or is it like just start for real? Like just put $20 whenever you can?
Yeah, as far as investing in equities, I would say just start. Get started. Because you have to actually learn how the markets work. And the only way to really truly learn is through experience. So you got to get the experience of being in the game, knowing what it looks like during a bull market, knowing what it feels like in a bear market, to kind of get your emotions in check, because the market is a roller coaster. So, but over time, it has always expanded, right? Over the long term, the markets have expanded consistently. So, you know, unless the world is going to end, or, you know, the U.S. just folds completely, even though there's going to be bear markets, the market always recovers. So, you know, invest early, invest often. That's huge advice. There's so many different books and educational pieces. You know, we all have iPhones, so any questions you really have, you can literally Google the answer to. So that's something you don't take for granted. One book that changed my thought process on business was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's another book that's common. You know, a lot of investors and business people will advise you to read. I would have to second that, because Rich Dad, Poor Dad changed my mindset. There's 4 quadrants that everyone lives in. Essentially, you can live in multiple of them, but there's 4 quadrants. You either work for someone, you work for yourself, you have people work for you, or you let your money work for you. We all live in those 4 quadrants some way, shape, or form. And after reading that book, it kind of put that in perspective for me, and it gave me a vision of where I wanted to be as far as those quadrants. So, you know, once you understand those quadrants, you can now pick and choose and understand where you want to land. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad, check it out. Please, Armin.
What?
It's recording.
Armin.
What?
Look. You see? Everybody meet me downstairs by the door.
Mana, no more recording. No.
What's up?
Double to see.
The doggies?
Yeah, the back one like to see my baby dog. That's how you eat the flower.
Hey, big boy, you first. Why your coat not zipped up, man? It's cold out here.
Oh, my fault.
It's snowing outside. You sleepy? You sleepy? You sleepy? You sleepy?
I'm right here, bro.
I got you.
The young life off of school, part of the daily routine. First start off with a workout, then get them ready, breakfast, lunch, drop them off at school. Now we on to the next. Vending machine location, partner with my brothers Elias and Joe, S&G Company. Just did a quick inventory check at the vending machine location. Me and my brothers Elias and Joseph Grant, we have a vending machine service. The company name is S&G. We've been operational for about 2 years now, maybe a year and a half. So I just swung through, do a quick check. Now we on to the next location, get a fresh cut for the day before we head to a new property that I'm looking to purchase possibly this year. I'll see you soon. We are now on our way to West Orange to view a potential property that I'm thinking about acquiring. It's 2 buildings. One is a 12 unit, the other is a 5, so it's 17 units in total. We have other projects that are currently completing. One of the things that we use in real estate is a 1031 exchange. So you take profits from a sale and you roll it into another acquisition. So that's something that we're looking to do as soon as these projects are complete. And this is one of the possible acquisitions that we're looking at. So we're headed there now. I'm gonna check. One is probably the top. When you take out a loan for construction, your contractor has to complete the work.
She was a short little
And then after the work is completed, you do a draw. So essentially it's like an inspection draw. Pictures, videos, showing the loan company what you've done. And then that's when you can access the loan.
Yeah, it's almost like proof that you used the loan for what you said you were going to use. Alright, so properties like that, what do you think, like, how much do you account for risk when you're looking at properties that are like on the older side like that?
Yeah, so it's an older property. Risk is always important to factor into any deal, you know, but also the numbers are the numbers. Like you saw Brian mention a few times, like the numbers are the numbers. If it pencils, it pencils. If it makes sense as far as how much money you can bring in compared to what you have to spend every month, then you pull the trigger. Like someone's gonna buy it, right? Maybe it's us, maybe it's another investor, because of what we talked about as far as the 1031. When investors bring in capital, you got to put it somewhere. Even if you just put it there for a year, renovate and sell to another investor, right? Like there's so many different strategies. So just going back to your question though, risk is always a part of it. But I don't know, in that property specifically, I don't know if that's the main factor of why we wouldn't buy. I think one of the main things that I saw was, in order to maximize profit in a property like that, you would need to raise the rents.
Yeah.
And when you have tenants who are long term, it's tough to do that. It's legally, you can only raise rents by so much in New Jersey. So you can't kick anybody out just so you can renovate and then raise their rent by a substantial amount. It's not legal. So, but ideally that would be the situation, to raise the rents and maximize. Well, first renovate, right? Make the apartments newer, better, and then raise rents and maximize profit.
Yeah. All right. So let's say I was like getting into real estate. It's my first property. Well, like what are some things I should have in mind? Like how much should I have saved up? What should I be looking for? And yeah, just some strategies for like actually putting your foot into real estate.
Yeah, so for anyone that's looking to get started, multifamily investments are suitable, doable for most normal working class people, where you can buy a 2-family or a 3-family, and like they call it house hacking. That's one of the code names, where you live in one apartment, then you rent out the other 2 or 1, however many units you decide to purchase. But that's the normal, get your way in the door, and then from there, you may live in it for a year, and then you can buy another property, and now you have that first property still bringing in 2 or 3 rent rolls. So that's an ideal situation. As far as like money down, it depends on the property amount. In Newark, a lot of the new constructions are selling for $800 to $850, and as a buyer, you would need to come in with, if you do FHA, you would need 3.5% of that, plus closing costs. So you could do that math. 800, 10% is 80,000, 5% is 40,000. So you probably need about, I would say, anywhere between 20 to 40 grand when you factor in a lot of the costs. But that 20 to 40 grand sets you up. It sets you up with a 2-family or a 3-family, where you can really start to create passive income.
Yeah. Alright. That's fire. Yeah, nah, definitely. So like, it's all about getting that first deposit in. After that, it just gets so much easier.
Yep, depending on the like, you could get into vacant lots. You could do like a RFP. A RFP is something that it's a proposal. Different townships, they look for developers to build lots, to build on lots, to build to renovate vacant properties. So one thing that we've done, we've put in proposals, and we've been able to receive lots that way. Tax liens. Tax liens is a way to get in the real estate game, where you can purchase a lien on a property. I wouldn't advise you to try to take someone's property that way, which is a strategy that people use. They buy the lien on the property, and then if that person doesn't pay the lien plus the interest back within 2 years, you can foreclose on the property. That's not something that I would advise, but because I would never want to take someone's property from somebody who's struggling.
Yeah.
But VAB tax liens is a strategy that we've used. We've purchased up to 10 properties / lots by doing the VAB strategy, which is buying tax liens on vacant properties that people are no longer living in. Someone may have owed $20,000 in taxes, and they decided not to pay it, and they disappear. In New Jersey, if you purchase a VAB tax lien and that property is vacant, you can foreclose. You can pay the tax lien, which is whatever it is, $20,000, $30,000, and then you can foreclose within 6 to 9 months and own the property. So that's something that we've done also over the past few years. That market has gotten more aggressive, but still doable, when we talk about acquisition strategies. So that's another strategy for sure. I'm giving out a lot of game right now, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of insight.
Somebody gonna get rich listening to this for sure. It's gonna pique somebody's interest, and they just gonna do the extra research that it takes to get the ball rolling for real.
Yeah, and partnerships. We've been talking about that all day long as far as partnerships. Mixing, mingling, networking, getting involved with people who are in that space, is very important. That's how I got started. Partnering with my guy Brian Scotland. He was already 10 years into the game of real estate, maybe more. I don't want to sell him short, but he was already involved heavily. And when I came home from overseas, I had capital. So you mix the capital with the experience, and we've been able to form a great partnership, friendship with doing what we love and building up the community.
Definitely.
We're actually pulling up to one of our properties now. We are here in Newark. Last week.
Oh no.
A part of it.
Lights too.
Move all the way. Just gotta, yeah, boom, boom.
Oh, sure.
You want to?
Yeah. Cause like even it's like, oh, I mean that stuff when you're stacked while you're driving.
Yeah, that makes sense here.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Nurse. Hey, Nurse Nicole.
Hi, sorry.
It's
I
all
know you're
good.
busy.
No, I'm okay. Always free.
She ate all of her waffles and she had her whole bag of chips.
Okay, and I noticed her number is 88.
8.
Right. Waffles, chips, so 1 unit should be good. Normally 1.5, but since her number was already low, we can go with the 1 unit. It's always nerve-wracking because it's only 88.
I know. And then she's not gonna have any activity. She's gonna sleep.
Yeah, but I think those waffles and chips are gonna raise that number. Like that number's gonna start going up. So I think we just stick with the 1 unit and hopefully that balances itself.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, so the call that I got earlier was from my daughter Gia, her nurse at school, Nurse Nicole, who does an amazing job. But yeah, Gia she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes right before her 2nd birthday. So, you know, in our household, it's really intense every day on a day-to-day basis, you know, dealing with her blood sugar numbers. You know, for anybody who doesn't know about type 1 diabetes, it's a autoimmune disease that's lifelong. You know, like I mentioned, she was diagnosed before her 2nd birthday, so it's really hard to manage for young children. It's hard to manage for anyone, but definitely for someone that young. So she has to get she wears monitors to keep track of her numbers. She gets pricked if she needs to. She does insulin shots every day before every meal. But she also wears the Omnipod and the Dexcom, which helps with some of that. You know, if her number drops too low, she could literally die, pass out, die. If her number goes too high, she can have organ issues long term. So it's like balancing her numbers all day. Essentially, her pancreas doesn't make insulin the way a normal person does. So we have to inject her with insulin. But if you inject her with too much insulin, again, the number can drop and, you know, things could get bad. So it's like we're playing a game of cat and mouse with her blood sugar numbers all day, every day. And, you know, like I mentioned, her nurse does a great job at school. We communicate how many units. We communicate how many units she needs to get just based on how much food she eats for lunch or for snack time. And then that's the insulin we use to bring her number down when it starts to elevate. So yeah, we actually are putting together a children's book for her to tell her story a little bit about, you know, when she was diagnosed, how she was diagnosed. You know, it was before her 2nd birthday. It was the day before her 2nd birthday. So, you know, we were in the hospital celebrating her 2nd birthday, man. So it's a lot to it. And, you know, you obviously just want your kids to be healthy. So we pray for her all the time. And she's so strong. You know, I look at it as one of the things that kind of gives her an advantage over her peers, because she's facing life and death every day. Like, she's literally looking life and death in his face every single day, and at a young age. So it's going to definitely develop a certain toughness in her to be able to get through difficult situations in life. She's already facing that on a daily basis. She's now 4 years old, so you know, we just look at it as something that we try to build on. She's strong. She understands her condition. She handles it well. So shout out to her. But her book is coming up. It's going to tell her story a bit. I'm excited. She's going to be a co-author on that. So, you know, try to teach a little bit. Try to teach people about the condition and, you know, what she goes through on a daily basis. Because people see her, she's laughing, she's joking. She's always like a highly spirited individual. But, you know, she does deal with a real situation on a daily basis. So shout out to my baby girl.
Alright, feel free to tell us the title and where we're going to be able to find this book.
Oh yeah, so the title of Gia's book is Gigi's Birthday Balancing Act. So it'll be on Amazon, it'll be on all the, you know, we'll sell them ourselves as well. But the title is based on, you know, number one, the condition. We found out about her condition prior to her birthday, the day before. So Gigi's birthday, and then balancing act is a play on words because we talked about balancing, literally balancing her numbers, highs and lows, all day, right? You know, meals, certain drinks. You know, she has to have sugar-free drinks. So Gigi's Birthday Balancing Act is the title of her book. You know, she gets to tell her story. She has quotes in the book. I just think it's a fire thing to give her the opportunity to be an author and to tell her story and to get to share with others and teach a little bit about the condition.
Yeah, that's fire, man. So an author at such a young age, you know, not only is this gonna be able to let her tell her story, but it's like, I'm sure she like some of the profit goes into her accounts, correct? Like in the future, she's gonna have this money invested, and she's gonna be able to, you know, probably go to college for free no matter what, right?
Yeah, for sure, exactly. You know, all her profits are gonna stay with her investment accounts that we talked about earlier, right? Her and Gian both have Roth IRAs that were set up a few years ago. So, you know, any of the money that she makes off her book goes directly into her Roth. So, you know, we locked in, man. You know, we're just trying to do the best for our children. You know, our parents did everything they can for us. Now we continue to pass that along. We use the information, we use the education that we've garnered over the years to kind of push the agenda forward. So,
all right, where we headed right now?
We are now headed down to my brother's studio, Mr. Jesse Jones, aka Filet. He has an up-and-coming podcast by the name of Beyond the Game with Filet, and I'm gonna be a guest tonight. You know, we're gonna have a good conversation about a lot of things. You know, some of the stuff that we talked about throughout today: financial literacy, hard work. Really, just trying to give off some gems to the younger generation.
So let's speak on debt. So obviously, there's bad debt and then there's good debt. What would you consider bad debt and what would you consider good debt?
Simply put, bad debt would be credit card debt that you might have accumulated through shopping or other liabilities. Good debt is debt that you take on buying assets. So I'll explain a little more. If I take out a construction loan to renovate a property that I'm eventually gonna sell, that construction loan may be 200 grand, but I may be selling that property for 500-600 grand. So that's good debt, right? Because that debt that I'm taking on is putting me in a position to make more money from that debt. Bad debt is debt that you're not going to make any money from. You just go shopping and that's G of numbers. You just go shopping and now, you know, you don't make any money off clothes. You don't make any money off material things. So bad debt, liabilities, good debt, assets.
All right, so how do you plan on like teaching your children all this knowledge that you have? Are you going to like give them real world examples, or let them like test it out a bit on their own, you know, let them create their own businesses and stuff as they grow up?
Yeah, I think it's an ongoing process that we start with now. You know, them having their own small amounts of money and they want to go to the store, but you know, use your money to purchase it. Now they understand the value of $1. You know, summertime we plan on having a lemonade stand where they can make money outside where we live, and they can understand transaction. You know, bringing in clients, taking in money, handing them a product, and then just slowly teaching them. You know, even now, when I pull up to some of these sites that we're working on, some of these projects that we're working on, I bring them with me, and I get them to understand. Look, this is a property that you own. You know, we own this. Someone lives here. They pay rent, etc., and it's a form of income for our household. So I already teach them that, and even though I don't think they fully understand yet, you'll hear them say certain things like real estate, or we have properties like that's like my dad's property. You know, they say little things that show me that they, not that they fully comprehend, but that they are paying attention, and that's at 3 and 4. So as the process goes, we're going to continue to add on certain educational tips on top of whatever they're learning in school, because a lot of this stuff won't be taught to them in school. So it's going to be up to us in the household to just keep filling their head with a lot of this information, which is fine. It's just going to be slowly over time, you know, as they get older, keep adding to it. Car real quick. What's up, sis? How you doing?
I just put in the concept this morning, like, I'm bringing nothing but legendary people up here, people that do for the community, people that lead by example. This is my closest brother, someone in the community that gives information and put the work in to walk the way he walk. And I just want to introduce my boy Gage Daye. Yeah, lock in, because I need to learn.
You know, this is my life at the end of the day. You know, outside of my basketball career, the only thing I've ever done was be an entrepreneur and a business owner.
Let me get in touch with you real quick. Yeah, that's good. Yes, sir. Shout out to my boy, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Nah, it's a great
always
space.
pulling up.
Appreciate it.
My boy G.
I see that play button back there.
You see that?
Yeah,
you
that's
see that, right?
You mind if I touch it? I ain't never seen one in real life. Hold on. This is the goal right here.
You gonna be there, bro.
This is the goal right.
You
Ooh.
gonna be there, bro.
I'm scared. Hold up.
That's what, let me see.
It's heavy. 100,000.
Yeah.
Silver play button.
Word, I got that shit in a month.
Oh. Dang.
Word. Like, people kept saying, make a YouTube. I'm like, yo, I don't know how to do that.
It's
So
a game changer, bro. I'm
yeah,
telling you.
I ran into Marcellus Howard and them. They do like the crazy layups and stuff.
Yeah.
So he put me on game, and he did a video for me and edited it for me. He was in the video, and he posted the video on his YouTube.
Gotcha.
And drove the traffic to mine. So I was able to generate, 100,000 followers, in like I think like it's like a month or two. Yo, y'all get home safe, bro. Love you, bro.
I appreciate you.
You already my boy.
Of course.
What you do, bro?
All right, have a great night.
Good, man. Hey, yo, you hit me about the Yeah, so great day today. We had a pretty impactful day. A lot of different things that we were able to touch on, from the early morning workouts to the real estate to great conversations with my brother Jesse Jones Filet. And that's a day in the life. Like we always talk about entrepreneurship, and business, and that's kind of what my days look like as far as having meetings, staying tapped in, networking, and there's other things that's involved, but today was a good outlook on what a normal day kind of looks like for your boy. Much love to everybody that's locked in. Anything that I hope you take something from it. I hope somebody can learn something. If one person can learn something from what we're doing, as far as showing what today looked like and what the journey looks like, I'm happy. So much love, peace, respect.